So you're finished with it?
Yeah.
Okay, so like there's one thing she's missing that is not exactly moral. So first of all, it's hard to decide what is moral and what exactly is not, because moral have different definition in people's heart. But however, her action of using violence to forcing others to accept her moral is really arguable that it's moral or not. For our side, it's not moral because first, she used violence to force things to happen. Second, when people do not agree, they should be allowed to say they're not agreeing and she shouldn't forcing it. So that's her part and her bad.
Amanda, same thing. Deep breath. Make sure you're speaking slowly and clearly so everyone understands your arguments, okay?
Okay.
Slowly.
So her action is not exactly correct and justified because she's using violence to forcing things that others may not agree while she believes the right thing. But what's good for the power to decide what is moral? For our side, we decided Carrie Nation is a villain because first, even though she had the right intention, but her action is not justified, it's illegal, it's immoral, and it's not necessary as better ways can be done. Secondly, it's hurting people's welfare as it is for people's property, and it very possibly violates people's safety and people's welfare because they might get hurt during her action of attacking and destroying things. And for the people who are actually somehow you can call who haven't actually done anything and haven't only done great evil.
You guys have 45 more seconds if you would like.
Oh, yes. Also, to add on to say, like, why bring police to alcohol is effective because if it's illegal and it brought it to police have to do something about it. They cannot just ignore and just say that, oh, we'll just let it go. Because the police have to represent the country's pride in a sense, and they should have to keep it and even destroy it for showing the public that police are doing what police should be doing. Hence, taking alcohol away and bringing the police will be more effective because they may more professionally destroy it, and they must do it for the sake of keeping up the reputation of the police of the nation.
Okay. So Amanda and Judy have argued that Carrie Nation is a villain and that her hatchetations are not necessary, illegal, and not right, immoral as well. Pro Carrie Nation team, Degmo, William, Jessica, you have 3 minutes. Remember to speak slowly. If you're speaking slowly and clearly, I'll give you a little bit of extra time to make your points. It's important everybody understand your arguments. On your mark, get set, go.
You guys can go first. I can be the last one to talk.
I think she was standing up to what she thought was right because her first husband died from alcohol. So she was trying to make everyone listen to the law also. She after a while she also before she wasn't really had a strategy, so after a while she made up a strategy to make a better reason for trying to make people listen.
So maybe I'll go then. So first of all, for the first question is, was her hatchetations necessary? Maybe not necessary, but let's look at the next two questions. Was it legal? Of course it is legal, because if it wasn't legal, then the police officers would just lock her up when she destroyed the first bar, but they didn't. They locked her up afterwards when she destroyed their properties, or maybe something very worthful, like maybe like a mirror that's very expensive. That's when they locked her up. So her hatchetations weren't weren't illegal. But let's see. So so the other team talked about how her hatchetations were destroying others' property. But however, it wasn't illegal for drinking alcohol at that time. So what does that mean? So the people who are drinking alcohol are actually breaking their laws. So people who are breaking the laws should pay their price when they break the law. They shouldn't just get a warning from the police officer and then and then walk away from breaking the law. So what Carrie Nation is doing is that she's destroying their bars and destroying partial of their property to let them pay the price. Pay the price that they should pay for breaking the law of they shouldn't drink alcohols. Also, Carrie Nation is creating chaos, but how is she creating chaos? You see that Carrie Nation actually have followers. So it means that actually some people, or maybe some people agree with her and would like to follow her and destroy bars. And it doesn't mean that the rest of them just don't agree. If people don't go up and try to maybe to stop her from breaking the bars, it either means that they're too scared to stop them, or they actually agree, but they just don't want to follow her because they're afraid to take the price of going into the jail. So yeah, that's pretty much it, if time's up.
Okay, and so William, maybe you can address the last question. Was Carrie Nation a hero or a villain?
I think she's a hero because at that time, no one listened to the government and no one followed what the government told them to do. And except her, no one just do the activities to help the citizens to follow the rules and follow the laws. She's the first one and only one to do it. And also she made when she destroyed the bars and the bottles, and she saved a lot of other families and maybe help a lot. Yeah.
Wonderful from both sides. Your opening statements have been completed. We now will go back to the anti-Carrie Nation time. You guys have 2 minutes for your rebuttals, Amanda and Judy.
May I start first, Judy?
Sorry, one moment, Amanda. For those of you that have not participated in a debate before, rebuttal means that you are allowed to address things the other side said, and you're allowed to give a counter argument from your point of view, from your side. Everyone good? All right, Amanda and Judy, you've got 2 minutes, 1 minute each. Enjoy.
Can I start first, Judy?
Yeah, start first.
Okay, so may I please allow to conclude what they say? So basically, they're saying for 3 things. 1, Carrie Nation is standing up for what is right, and they use the husband example. They also try to explain how Carrie Nation is trying to make everyone act legally and by using the strategy that may be somewhat violent. They're also arguing that Carrie Nation is a hero because she's trying to enforce the law. So first, let's go with the first one. They're stating that what she's standing up for is right, and they use an example how her husband, which died from drinking alcohol, traumatized her. However, first of all, you haven't answered our first statement. What makes her the one to decide what is right? Is she the police, the government, or the God? She's
If
neither
the
of them.
government is doing anything, then she wouldn't have to stand up. If there are no bars, then she wouldn't have any bars to destroy. So
Then that's what makes our point. Our point is that we should be letting her taking the alcohol away and destroying it instead of hurting properties and people. We're doing this in a much safer and a more less violent method, which actually have the same effect, but less damage done and less property destroyed.
That's
And
what?
there's
That
not
might be
be
what
people
they're
hurt.
doing. If the police is doing that, then they can still get their
That's why
alcohol.
our method is better. We're making sure that things are getting destroyed, but no one's getting hurt. We say
But no
no,
one's getting hurt, but the law is constantly being broken. Then
what makes it do? Do you hurt people to make sure the law is forcing? So are you saying violence is justifiable in your side? Are you saying violence is justifiable in the side?
How many people are being harmed comparing to how many people are dead because of alcohol?
Then are you saying that you should harm people to stop them drinking alcohol, which is having the same effect or possibly worse, that she might break a people's leg with her hatchet? Or maybe even kill someone?
Did she? If she did, then she wouldn't be outside breaking bars.
Then that's why she was arrested later.
And then she's being put out, so she didn't kill anybody.
Because someone paid the fine, and not because that she didn't do something wrong.
Well, the bars can also pay police fines, and then they can still.
He paid the fine, not the fund. Please listen carefully.
Yeah.
All right, let's give you two a break for a minute. Judy, your chance for rebuttal. Amanda, you're getting
Okay.
muted for 30 seconds. That was great, you two.
So the first argument we made was it necessary, and our opponent agreed that it was not necessary. So they already agree with one of our points. And to our second point, which is it legal or not? Yes, it is not legal because she's not only destroying alcohol, she's also destroying bars' property and others' property that has nothing to do with the law. And therefore, there's, as my teammate Amanda stated, there are much more better ways that to follow this law without making any damage to anyone's personal properties. And moral, no, it was not moral. She is using a violent act to enforce a law, and that should be never used. So in the law right now, there is nothing with violent to ensure a law. And because people are getting hurt and people's stuff are getting wrecked and harmed, it is not moral, and therefore we shouldn't be. Carrie Nation's hatchetation was not necessary, not legal, and neither moral.
Let's make an example. So if a thief had stolen something today, like nowadays, will they get punished? Well, how will they get punished?
Then let me please have an example. If you killed a murderer, does that make you right?
Jessica, Amanda, I'm going to pause you for a moment. I do want to hear this argument. However, we're going to move still down to the rebuttal side for a moment from the pro-Carrie Nation side. William, you can go first.
I think this activity is necessary because the government have a lot of the 18th amendment. So, but no one listened to the government, and so she's the only one to stand, and she was doing this activity for the government and maybe saving a lot of families from alcohol. And the next, is it legal? It is legal because no one stopped her, include the police and the government. No one stopped her before she destroying the things. Didn't connect with alcohol. And the third one, moral. It was moral to most of the people, but it wasn't moral for the only one who own the bars or the alcohols. So for most of the people, this is moral, and she's violent because no, she's a hero. She is hero because she's saving a lot of family from alcohols, and also she was saving the government from the people that didn't follow the laws. Yeah.
Well done, William. Amanda and Judy, I'll give you a moment to offer rebuttal to William's statements. Dengmo, I'll then give you an opportunity to offer any rebuttal to Amanda and Judy's statements they're about to make. Go ahead, Amanda and Judy.
So first thing, is it on your side that you agree that you can do something illegal to stop something illegal from happening? Because from what you're saying, the logic is for
Amanda,
justice.
When you make a good point like that, say it slowly and relaxed.
Okay.
Say it again, very slowly, so everyone understands it's a good point.
Okay, so from judging from the logic we have heard so far, so on your side, you're saying that it's okay to do something illegal just because to stop something illegal. So if it's your case on your side, will you allow people to kill murderer because you're stopping someone, you're punishing someone illegal, but your method is not legal either?
If the murderer is about to kill you, then it's allowed.
Sorry? But like,
if
sorry?
you're going to get killed by the murderer, then you're allowed to kill the murderer.
But the problem is no one's drinking alcohol in front of her face.
How her husband died.
So you're saying that if someone's traumatized, they're allowed to do whatever they do because they're traumatized, and they should be forgiven because they have a dark side and they feel scared about something. Is it your logic?
I mean, it's what is traumatizing her is something illegal.
Then her actions illegal doesn't justify her. Also, you're saying that it's moral for the public. However, is it the logic right that if you have many followers, you're right? There are many people that made a lot of mistakes who have a lot of followers, but that doesn't justify their action, and it didn't make her the one with the power to decide what is moral and what is not.
Drinking alcohol is also illegal, but also a lot of people are drinking alcohol. Does that make drinking alcohol correct, or maybe having bars correct or morally correct?
No, we never say that drinking is correct. So that's how we say she could have done it a better way by just taking alcohol and not use a hatchet to harm properties and people, which she was arrested for, and which caused harm, and which is not correct, and this make her not.
I'll pause you for a moment, Amanda. Dengmo, your opposition is saying that it is not correct to do something illegal to stop something else illegal, making the age-old argument that two wrongs don't make a right. What would you say in response to this?
I would say it's just that she was trying to make people listen to the law because the government wasn't willing to do anything about it. So someone had to make them listen to the law.
So Judy, Dengmo is making the counter argument that in this situation, two wrongs do make a right. That if they're going to do something illegal and no one's going to stop the illegality of it, then something else illegal might have to be done to stop it. What would you say to that, Judy?
Well, I would say, for example, you're facing someone stealing from the market. Then you pull out a gun to kill them. You will also face the same charges as a murder. As two wrongs does not make a right. As we shouldn't use anything illegal to stop anything illegal.
The floor is now open.
So anyone can talk, or?
Anyone can talk.
So furthermore, we offer better ways. We offer way by just taking alcohol away, no hatchet, no harm to property, and no people harm.
Amanda, same thing. Amanda, your arguments mean nothing if no one understands them. Speak slowly. Deep breaths when you get excited. You're saying great things. Deep breath. Let me see the deep breath. Let me see it. And ready, go. You're good.
We are reinforcing one thing we said countless times again. There are better ways to do this. We allow them to just take the alcohol away and not use a hatchet. No harm to property, no harm to people's safety. We're doing this, we're clearing the alcohol, we're stopping something illegal, but in a better, less violent way.
Yeah, I guess that's what the police were doing. So it doesn't do anything, actually, since the bars are still there. Then what do you think the police are doing then? If you say that Carrie Nation should have a better way, then you mean that the police are actually doing nothing, right? Since it has to be Carrie Nation who does these.
Police doing nothing doesn't equal that Carrie Nation can do anything. Those are two completely different ideas, and please don't mix it up.
Then if the police are doing nothing, then who will do something? Doesn't there have to be anybody who would stand up if a law is not being correctly enforced?
First, I totally agree that Carrie Nation should do something, but I'm not agreeing in her way. So I'm saying that she can do it in a better way, and she can just take the alcohol away and destroy it. We are saying that no violence, no breaking of property, no saying that she can do anything to stop illegal, but we are not saying that she should not stop illegal. Please get our point straight.
She didn't really do anything since the police were they couldn't kind of really put her in jail at first when she was destroying the bars.
So that's why
I'm going to pause you guys right there as you're going in a little bit of circles, both of you making strong arguments with each other. For our final closing statements, there will be no rebuttal period. Every single person in the group will have 1 minute if they are on the pro side, 90 seconds if they are on the anti side. We will go back and forth. So we will start with pro, and we'll go anti-pro until we conclude our debate, and then we can chat about our conclusions after. Let's start our pro argument. Let's have Dengmo make her closing statement first. What would you like to take away from this, Dengmo, in your argument that Carrie Nation is a hero and that her hatchetations were legal and moral?
It's all about that she was just trying to make, like I said before, she's trying to make people listen to the law. So she was also standing up to what she thought was right. So she was trying to do what she thought was best for everyone because of the death of her husband, her first husband, and there might be more that could die from alcohol. So she was trying to do what she thought was right.
A very strong argument for Carrie Nation's hatchetations being moral, at least from her point of view, for sure. Judy, your closing statement, please.
Okay, so Carrie Nation's hatchetations was breaking others' property while destroying what is illegal, which is also making her act illegal as she's breaking property. As my teammate Amanda stated again and again, that doing something illegal to solve something illegal isn't the right way, as there are many better ways to solve the alcohol issues without damaging any salons with a hatchet. So it's not moral because the police can be wrong. Our opponents are using police as a standard, as if the police is not putting her in jail, it means that what she does is not illegal. Police can be wrong sometimes, and her destroying property is definitely illegal, as you can't just walk up to a market and start using a hatchet to destroy everything.
Interesting.
Police also has put her in jail as many times as she's destroyed valuable property, meaning that her actions are actually illegal, but she's only kept in prison a short time, making her things seem legal. And my last point is that even though she has followers, there are people following maybe criminals nowadays. It doesn't mean if people are following her actions are right. Seeing that you could follow whatever you believe, there could be also millions of people like Carrie Nation thinking that you should hatchet things you see. So yeah, not a lot of the statements made by my opponents actually make sense.
Okay. Judy, making some strong arguments in the anti-Carrie Nation side. Some of the main arguments being, if you did not hear, that first of all, she's claiming that if there is something wrong going on, then there must have been a way better than Carrie Nation's hatchetations in order to solve the problem. She also making the strong point at the end that simply having followers doesn't mean that someone is doing what is right, as there's many people in history who have had plenty of followers, but were not doing things that many would be considered the right thing to do. William Wong, it's your time to shine. Your closing statement.
I think she is not just helping to saving the people from alcohol. She is also saving the government, because no one follows the government, and what she was doing was just follow what the government wants the citizens to do. She shows that people should listen to the government, and also someone said that she is doing the wrong thing. Not wrong thing. She is doing the right thing, but not the best way. But what I want to say was she was the only one to do something for the alcohol, and no one except her was doing the same thing, and she could just doing what she thought was the best. She cannot. She's not a god. She cannot done everything the best.
William Wong making a very strong argument as well, that not only was what Carrie Nation was doing moral, but by her defending the law, she must have been doing something that was legal because the other ways that the law was supposed to be enforced wasn't happening. Interesting as well. Amanda 10, 90 seconds. I'll give you 2 minutes if you speak slowly.
Okay, so for the final thing, I would like to go back to one thing. What is hatchetations? I realized no one brought it up. Hatchetations got a name from the hacks that she's using. So from the second it got a name, it's an action of violence. Hence, we're against her action of violence because violence have caused a lot of damaged property and a lot of damaged people, which doesn't really help to make things better. Even so, alcohol destroyed, but people are hurt, and that's exactly what she don't want. And secondly, they're saying that she's not a god. However, like what we say, when she have a lot of follower and trying to do the best thing, that don't make her the one the right to do things. There's many people who's not a god, have a lot of followers, but did awful things. For example, from the USS, which I learned, Stalin have a whole USSR. He's trying to do things by making it more industrialized, but is he doing the right thing by murdering, killing, and massive people dying for the industrialization? You can think about it. Secondly, we are not saying, please don't confuse that when the police not doing the right thing, that's okay for her to not do the right things. We definitely support her from enforcing the law, but we want a more smooth way, a nicer way, and a less extreme way. We want her to just destroy the alcohol, and just destroy the alcohol only. We do not want her harming, using a hatchet, destroying property, and getting people hurt. And you cannot justify her violence and the wrong thing she did. Even if she paid a fine, even if she's terrified by what happened to her husband, or even if she have a lot of followers, she's wrong, nothing can justify it, and we should not support like a wrong defend a wrong when there's a better method that she can just aim at what she's wants instead of using a hatchet and causing things that she wouldn't want by her intention. Hence, due to the reason above, I feel like hatchetation is not what she should do. There are better ways, and we never support violence.
Thank you, Ms. Tan. Ms. Lee, your final 2 minutes. 90 seconds if you speak fast, 2 minutes if you speak slow, and I prefer you speak slowly and easily to understand, please. Go ahead.
So the people anti-Carrie Nation have been talking about that people who have a lot of followers might not be right, and they brought up the example of Stalin. Well, Stalin used violence to keep order for what he thought that it was correct and what he thought was not against the law. So Carrie Nation also used violence to remain order in her community, and Kansas. So here, our opponents never talked about never really talked about what the police are doing if they said that the police are doing nothing. Well, what I meant that what the police are doing nothing means that they are trying to do something, but they tried to do something maybe, but didn't really actually fix the case right here that people are breaking the laws and drinking alcohol. Maybe the police are doing what our opponents say. Maybe they are taking away the alcohol. Maybe they are punishing the bars by maybe letting them pay, or maybe just taking away alcohol, or maybe stuff like that. They maybe did that. They maybe did that, but it never actually eliminates all the alcohol and bars being just out there and being like letting them have so many customers for their bars. So if taking away alcohol or letting the bars pay do work, then if it actually works, then the bars should be lessening throughout the time, and there wouldn't be a need for a hero like Carrie Nation to walk out and say the bars need to be destroyed because it's not doing any good, and it's against the law, and the law is not doing anything, and there's no one doing anything to enforce the law. So what is better than just what is a better way to enforce the law except of letting them confiscating their alcohol, or maybe letting them pay, or maybe just letting them go into jail? Then it must be violence, because there's nothing else better to enforce the law than that. for a community like what we are in right now nowadays, it's just maybe being shot or maybe something like, or just being put in jail for a long period of time. But think about time in America at that time. It's not as maybe there's not as much order as we are in right now. So maybe as a poor educated person like Carrie Nation, what she thought the best was violence. And I guess that if confiscating alcohol and letting the bars pay doesn't work, then maybe the best way is violence, when Carrie Nation didn't really harm a lot of people, and the properties that are destroyed are from the bars, which the bars had to pay their price. So what we think that Carrie Nation's Hatchetations were necessary for the community.
15 seconds, Jessica.
Yeah, Carrie Nation's Hatchetations were necessary to remain the order of the community. It was legal since the police didn't really didn't put her in jail in the first time, and it was moral because Carrie Nation had a husband that died in the first time, and it also can cause other harm to other people. Even though what we know for now is that only Carrie Nation's husband has died, but maybe other families also have their husband or maybe wives drinking alcohol and causing some other families to have harm. And also by Carrie Nation standing up against most of the people at that time, we consider that Carrie Nation might be a hero at that time. And
that's a strong argument as well. Isn't a hero someone that goes against what everyone says? And if the law enforcement officials are not going to enforce the law, then why not Carrie Nation? William and Dengmo, I'm not going to discuss it here, but keep in mind, do you guys see any similarities between Carrie Nation and the Grocki brothers that you're learning about in your Wednesday evening classes? Send me a message on WeChat if you see any similarities between them. We can discuss that as well. History always seems to repeat itself. I'd like to go in the end to a man named John Stuart Mill. Raise your hand if you've heard that name before. He's a name that you're going to hear when you're in university for sure. He's one of my favorite philosophers, also one of the smartest people to ever live. I believe his IQ was over 190. One of the most famous things that John Stuart Mill said was the harm principle. Can you read that for me, please, Judy, slowly and clearly?
The only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any member of a civilized community against his will is to prevent harm to others. John Stuart Mill.
Take a moment and read that and try to realize what it means. We're going to leave our debate for a moment here. Of course, I'm not going to declare a winner or a loser because there is no winner or loser. You guys are all winners because you all participated and argued vehemently for the side that I put you on, even if some of you didn't truly believe the side you were on. You showed clear knowledge of the subject matter. You showed that you are excited amateur historians. That was the whole point of it. I would remind you guys, this is not a regular classroom. I would love to see some of the energy and outgoingness of that debate start to show even more in our regular lessons. Use the chat box, ask questions, even interrupt the classroom time to time. I like it when you guys take the time to talk as well. I thought we needed this open forum today for this to be truly a student's class, for you guys to run your own lesson, because I wanted to see how well you really truly understood what we were learning about, and you guys have passed the test with flying colors. After our Carrie Nation lesson, you guys truly seem to understand the real intricacies of the argument as both sides showed. Let's look at this now. Neither of you need to take a side you don't like now. Look at John Stuart Mill and what he's saying. He's basically saying that government should not do anything unless it is to prevent people from harming one another. Would Carrie Nation agree with this? All of you shaking your head no. Who's right, John Stuart Mill or Carrie Nation? Open forum again. Do you guys agree with the harm principle? Or do you think there's things government should do beyond preventing people from harming each other? Open forum, your own opinions.
Actually, if that time the law was practiced like in the way it should, this thing wouldn't have even started.
What do you mean, Amanda?
Like if the 18th Amendment was actually very severely run on an extremely strict base, Carrie Nation would have, there's no 18th Amendments there, but if the law of banning alcohol was run on a very strict manner, like Carrie Nation would not even have to like bring her hatchets and go around and harm people.
But I guess the argument here would be, do you think a law like the 18th Amendment, should a government even have a right to make a law like that, is what John Stuart Mill would argue. He would say that governments are not in place to create laws to control the morals of its citizens. The government's there to keep peace and keep people from harming each other and to allow people to have freedom. Would you guys agree with this or not? Or is a government allowed to dictate moral policy? Can a government make moral law like the 18th Amendment? What do you think, William?
I think the law like the 18th Amendment may not affect affect the things good. They may lead things bad, like and they make the whole country mess. And the activity Carrie was doing just because of the 18th Amendment.
I would like you guys to point out there that William clearly was arguing a side in the debate that he doesn't really truly agree with there, because he's saying now that the 18th Amendment created chaos and made a mess, right? That's perfect. Well done, William. Yeah. So William's saying maybe the 18th Amendment, by trying to have moral entrepreneurs dictate law, caused more problems than it solved. What do you think, Dengmo? Can trying to control people's morals be helpful?
No,
Why not?
because people don't like to. So if you tell someone to do it, they don't want to do it.
If you tell someone to do it, they don't want to do it? Or is it the opposite? If you tell someone not to do something, what are they sometimes going to do?
Did I do it?
And it depends on their thoughts. If you tell somebody not to do something horrible, if you teach somebody that you shouldn't rob, you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't kill, usually they'll follow that in the right situation. But yeah, Dengmo's making the point that if you tell someone not to do something that they've been taught their whole life isn't really wrong, then it's going to be a very hard sell. Jessica, I see you want to talk. What do you think about this, Jessica? Is it ever okay for the government to make laws to dictate how people should act beyond stopping people from hurting each other?
I don't think that's very necessary for making a law to not drink alcohol.
What about other laws? What about you have to wear your seatbelt? Is that a law government should make?
But that's for safety.
Sure, but it's protecting people from themselves, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying it's okay for a government to protect people from themselves. John Stuart Mill would say you should only protect people from harming others. Do you think it's okay for a government to try to stop people from harming themselves? Tough question, huh?
But sometimes, like, when it's said, like, things that harm yourself don't just harm yourself.
That's a good argument too. Yeah, people would say that if you don't wear your seatbelt, then you might be more injured, then you might have to go to the hospital and your bills might get paid by taxpayer money. Yeah, you could take the argument there as well, that sometimes harming yourself also harms others, which might be something that would say, well, maybe John Stuart Mill would support this. Judy, what do you think? 18th Amendment, can governments make laws like the 18th Amendment, or should that be left for people to decide for themselves?
I think they should make the 18th Amendment because it is helping the community as a whole as protecting yourself and others from getting harmed.
Wonderful. You guys, I give you a round of applause today. You ran that class today. You made it work because of your knowledge, your participation, your vigilance in learning about the material, and your excitement for history. You guys did that all on your own. Next week, we go onto a different matter because this is going to be a fun one. As we've talked about before, with prohibition and alcohol being illegal, the people that are going to be making money off of this are those that previously would not have been able to. Gangsters, people with machine guns, people that are willing to use any means necessary to get the money from selling this illegal substance that so many people want. Next week will be Al Capone and gangsters during Prohibition Week. I hope you're excited for it. Any questions before I let you go today? You guys were amazing.
Not a question, but everyone was great.
Yeah, everyone was great. Jessica, Amanda, the fact that you could yell at each other, but I know that you were keeping in spirit of the debate and that you're still friends after, that makes me happy as well. That's just how debates are supposed to be. I videotaped the debate almost from the beginning. I'll make it available to you later. It's probably too big to put directly on the WeChat group, but I'll share it with you as soon as I can. Cool? William, Judy, Dengmo, Jessica, any questions before we go? Beautiful work, everybody. I will see you next week. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Dengmo. Bye,
Bye.
William. Bye, Amanda. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Jessica. Bye-bye.